Adaeze gasped as another wave of pain tore through her. The room was cold, and the lights were too bright, but none of that mattered. The pain was all that existed. Her body slick with sweat, she clutched the bed rail, her knuckles white. It had been 3 days. 3 days of endless contractions, one after another, and still no baby. The doctors kept telling her it was normal, that some labors took longer, but Adaeze felt the weight in her chest, a deep unease she couldn't shake. Something's wrong, she thought. This isn't just regular labor. But she couldn't think about that right now. She had to focus. She had to get through this. She had to get this baby out. The last one had slipped away, and she couldn't lose this one, not after everything. She couldn't handle it again. "Push, Adaeze," the doctor urged, his voice soft but firm. But she didn't feel like pushing. She felt like screaming or running, but she didn't because she knew the baby needed her. As the pain hit again, she gritted her teeth and pushed with all her might. Then, silence. The world felt frozen. The room, which had been filled with the sounds of her labor, was now still, almost too still. Adaze's heart pounded in her ears as the doctor did something, his expression unreadable. Then, he stepped back, and a nurse placed a stillborn baby into Adaze's arms. Her body went numb. She stared at the tiny, lifeless child in her arms, her breath catching in her throat. She had prayed for this child. She had hoped this time it would be different, but the reality was cold. Her arms felt empty. Why, she thought, why couldn't I keep this one? Minutes passed, maybe hours, and Adaeze couldn't move. Her body ached from the delivery, but her heart was heavier than any physical pain. She didn't know how long she lay there, just staring at her child, when the doctor moved quickly, his eyes widening. He grabbed the nurse's arm, his voice shaking as he spoke. There's something inside her. It's alive." "Jesus Christ! Is a snake?" Adaze's eyes widened. She barely heard the words. What? Inside her? She had been so focused on the baby, on the pain, that she hadn't even considered there might be something more going on. But the look on the doctor's face made her blood run cold. "Doctor?" she managed to whisper. "Call the specialists," the doctor said, his voice tight. "Now." A cold, sinking feeling spread through Adaeze. The room became a blur of movement as the doctor and nurses rushed around her, but she barely registered it. "Something inside me?" She looked down at the lifeless baby, her mind spinning. Then it hit her. The snake. She remembered the sharp pain she'd felt earlier in her pregnancy. She thought it was just regular discomfort. But no, this was something else, something unnatural. It was the snake. Weeks had passed, and Adaeze still couldn't shake the memory of the snake inside her. The doctors had removed it, though no one could explain how or why it had been there in the first place. The physical healing was slow, but it was the emotional and spiritual toll that was worse. Every night, her dreams were haunted by the slithering shadows of a snake, whispering in languages she couldn't understand. And there was only one person who might have answers: Mama Uzo, the herbalist in the village known for her connection to the spirit world. Adaze's heart raced as she made her way to Mama Uzo's home. The path was long, winding through thick trees, and as she reached the small, simple hut, she felt a strange sense of calm. The air smelled of herbs, incense, and something else, something ancient. Mama Uzo, bent with age but sharp-eyed, greeted her with a quiet smile. She didn't ask Adaeze to explain. She simply led her into the dimly lit room where the air hummed with a quiet power. "Sit, child," Mama Uzo said in her low, soothing voice. "Tell me what troubles you." Adaeze spoke. She told her everything, about the snake, the gift, the miscarriage, the pain. She couldn't leave anything out, not when she was finally facing the truth of what had happened. Mama Uzo listened in silence, her eyes never leaving Adaeze's face. When she finally spoke, it was with calm authority. "You are cursed, Adaeze. The one who gave you that gift." She paused, her gaze narrowing. "She is the cause." Adaeze felt her blood run cold. Who? Who gave me this curse?" Mama Uzo's eyes gleamed. "It was someone close to you, a woman, jealous. She used a snake to destroy your happiness." Adaeze's mind raced, and the name came to her before she even realized it. Chioma, her best friend. Or at least, that's who she thought she was. Adaeze remembered how Chioma had acted when she married Emeka. She had cried at the engagement, disappeared after the wedding, and now it made sense. The snake, the curse, the jealousy. Adaeze could barely breathe as Mama Uzo's words settled in. Chioma, her best friend, the one person who had always been by her side. It didn't make sense. She had to be wrong. It had to be some mistake. But as she sat there, something in her gut told her Mama Uzo was right. Chioma had wanted Emeka. It was clear now, in a way that hurt too much to fully accept. Chioma had given her the snake. She had been the one to pull the strings from behind the scenes, watching as Adaeze's life unraveled. "Why would she do this?" Adaeze whispered, her voice shaky. "What did I do to her?" Mama Uzo's gaze softened. "You took Emeka from her. She wanted him, but you got him, and she couldn't bear it. So she gave you the gift to destroy everything you held dear." Adaeze remembered. Everything makes sense to her now. It was a sunny Saturday afternoon, and the streets of Lagos were filled with people going about their business. But inside the grand hall of the palace-like wedding venue, everything was perfect. The air smelled of fresh flowers, and the sound of laughter and soft music filled the space. Adaeze stood in her white gown, looking at herself in the full-length mirror. She looked like a queen, and everyone admired her beauty. Her wedding to Emeka was the talk of the town. People came from near and far to witness their union. Adaeze was excited. She had waited for this day her whole life. Today she would become Emeka's wife. As they exchanged vows and the guests clapped, Adaeze's heart fluttered with joy. Emeka smiled at her with love in his eyes. But there was one thing that bothered her. Throughout the ceremony, there was a woman in the back of the hall standing alone. She wore a black dress and had an unsettling presence. Adaeze tried to shake off the feeling, but it stayed with her. Who was she? Why did she feel so out of place at her wedding? After the ceremony, everyone moved to the reception hall, where food and drinks were served. As Adaeze and Emeka walked in, a mysterious woman approached them. She smiled softly, holding a small, beautifully wrapped box. "I have a gift for the bride," the woman said in a quiet voice. Adaeze smiled, but something in the woman's eyes made her feel uneasy. "Thank you," Adaeze replied politely, accepting the box. She didn't know why, but she had the strangest feeling that this gift was not going to be like any other. The woman nodded and disappeared into the crowd, leaving Adaeze and Emeka alone with the box. Adaeze felt an odd chill run through her. She shrugged it off, but the unease didn't go away. "I wonder what's inside," Adaeze said to Emeka, trying to smile. Emeka kissed her on the cheek. "Let's open it later tonight when we're alone, just the two of us." Adaeze agreed. Little did they know that this small, strange gift would change their lives forever. It was Monday morning, and Adaeze and Emeka were finally alone in their cozy home. The weekend had been filled with wedding activities, and now it was time to relax. They sat on the couch, surrounded by all the wedding gifts, ready to open each one. Adaeze smiled as she picked up the first few boxes, tearing the wrapping paper off with excitement. "Oh, this is so nice," Adaeze said as she opened a beautifully wrapped box from her aunt. It was a set of fine china, perfect for their new home. She laughed, feeling giddy as Emeka opened the next box, which held a fancy blender. One by one, they opened the gifts, their excitement growing with each one. But then, Adaeze picked up the small red cloth-wrapped box. "This one," she said, "is the one I don't remember anyone giving me." Emeka looked at her with raised eyebrows. "Are you sure?" Adaeze nodded, feeling that strange feeling in her stomach again. Something didn't sit right with the gift, but with a deep breath, she decided to open it. As she carefully removed the cloth, her hands froze. There, in the box, was a small snake. It was alive, its body curled tightly, its eyes glowing a bright yellow as it hissed at her. Adaeze screamed, her heart racing in fear. She dropped the box, but the snake didn't move. Emeka jumped to his feet, his eyes wide in shock. What is this?" he asked, his voice shaky. Adaeze was too scared to answer. Her whole body felt cold, as if a wave of ice had washed over her. The chill spread through her body, from her fingers all the way down to her toes. It was a strange, uncomfortable feeling, as if something had entered her, something dark and cold. Emeka quickly grabbed the snake and threw it out of the open window. The cold feeling didn't go away. Adaeze could still feel it inside her, creeping like a shadow. "Who could have sent this?" Emeka asked, his voice filled with disbelief. "I don't know," Adaeze whispered, "but it feels wrong." Emeka wrapped his arms around her, trying to comfort her, but the cold feeling didn't leave Adaeze. It stayed with her, a constant, uncomfortable presence in the back of her mind. That night, as they went to bed, Adaeze tossed and turned, unable to sleep. Something had changed. She wasn't sure what, but she knew it wasn't just the snake. That gift, whoever sent it, had brought something into their lives that they weren't prepared for. Something dark, something evil, and she didn't know how to get rid of it. Adaeze clenched her fists. The wedding gift was from Chioma, her best friend all along? The betrayal felt like a wound that would never heal. Her best friend, the one person she had trusted with everything. How could she have done this to her? "How do I stop it?" Adaeze asked, her voice stronger now, even if the pain still lingered in her chest. "You must confront her," Mama Uzo said, her voice firm. "Before the next full moon, you must face her and return the curse. Not with anger, but with truth." Adaeze's heart beat faster. "Confront Chioma? But she'll deny it." "That's the point," Mama Uzo said. "You must stand in your truth, no matter what." Adaeze's mind was a storm of emotions, anger, fear, betrayal. But beneath all of it, a spark of courage began to grow. She had to face Chioma. It was the only way to break the curse. The night of the full moon arrived, and Adaeze stood outside Chioma's house, her heart pounding in her chest. The moonlight bathed the world in a cold silver glow. This was it. Chioma opened the door, looking as perfect as ever, but when she saw Adaeze standing there, her face paled. "Adaeze? What are you doing here?" "I know what you did," Adaeze said, her voice steady despite the storm raging inside her. "I know about the snake, about the curse." Chioma's eyes widened, and for a moment, Adaeze thought she saw something dark flicker in her gaze, but Chioma quickly recovered, flashing a smile that didn't reach her eyes. I don't know what you're talking about, but Adaeze was done with lies. You gave me the snake. You cursed me, Chioma. You wanted Emeka, and when I married him, you wanted to destroy me. Chioma's face drained of color. No, I didn't. Yes, you did, Adaeze said, cutting her off. You tried to break me. You almost succeeded. The air was thick with tension, and for a moment it felt like the world held its breath. Watch out for the continuation in our next post. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please click on that subscribe button now. Turn on the notifications, so whenever I post more interesting stories, you'll be the first to get them. I really appreciate you. I do not take your support for granted. See you in my next video. Bye.